Hello everyone, back to today's second video, doing JMA Friday for today's second video. So as always on a Friday, we're having a look at the weather for the month ahead with the Japanese and CFS V2 models. And this of course is going to take us into the second half of October. So yeah, we'll bring you all of the latest with the JMA and the CFS V2 for the next 4 weeks in a moment. Just to say that the European Outlook was the first video release today, so that's looking at weather next week to 10 days in detail across Northern Europe. And they're going to have a 10 to 14 day video update, including all of regular features, and that'll be the third and final video upload later on this afternoon. We've got a live stream coming up after 10 o'clock time. It'll be the first ever curfew live stream for GavsWeatherVids. So we'll check in, have a bit of fun on a Friday night. That'll be around 10 minutes after 10 o'clock tonight, just after the curfew. Right, so let's get on with it then. We're going to start off by having a look at the JMA 500 millibar height anomaly from the North Pole and Arctic view down. So, of course, this is the Arctic Circle just here, and then we've got the wider sort of Arctic around here, and then we've got mid-latitudes through there. Blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure, yellow, orange, and red, to above average heights, which is high pressure. These are broken down to weekly periods, so the first weekly period will take us from today, the 25th of September, through to the 2nd of October. The coming 10 days looking unsettled, with below average heights in from northern latitudes down into western parts of Europe. We've got above average heights pulled out into the middle of the Atlantic and also away to our northeast. Jet stream does something a little bit like that. So we're looking very unsettled and pretty cool as well in the week ahead with that one. Week 2 is the 2nd to the 9th of October, still looking very unsettled here with a deep trough of low pressure right over top of the UK and Ireland. Above average heights away to our northeast and also to our west too. We're on the cool side of jet stream, doing something a little bit like that. So remain unsettled, potentially quite cool as well through the first week of October. If that is right, we're pulling in sort of northerly type winds into that trough of low pressure, or maybe easterly, but it certainly wouldn't be particularly warm and it would be quite wet as well. Weeks 3 and 4 are going to take us from the 9th to the 23rd of October. Bit of a change here. So we've got this large area of above average heights to our northeast. That's pushing up towards the Arctic as well. Below average heights out to west of the UK and Ireland, with above average heights down towards Portugal. Quite complicated pattern. Looks like we're still driving in westerlies, really. However, it's a 2-weekly anomaly, so this trough could be weakening and starting to get pushed back in that direction. If so, we could be starting to turn the wind into sort of a southeasterly type direction, maybe have this area of high pressure to our northeast taking over. Of course, if that high pressure was to take over and become centered around here, then it would start turning the wind into the east, which would be quite cold late in October. There's no suggestion of that at the moment though, but we could be seeing the high pressure sort of building to the east and to the northeast, which, if this trough is weakening, might turn us drier and might turn us warmer as well as winds sort of turning to the southeast. So that's one of those in between sort of charts that could go in either direction. Really, you could go anti-cyclonic and pull up a warm southeasterly of that. Conversely, you could stay unsettled with below pressure in the Atlantic, continue to bring in those westerly winds with near normal temperatures. So one of those that could go in either direction, basically. Right, let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view and try to confirm all of this with temperature and rainfall anomalies. Now, we can't see the Arctic and Scandinavia and the North Pole. That's the area that's off the chart up here. But we can see, like, the Atlantic. We can see Europe over here as well. There's the Atlantic just there, and the British Isles and Ireland in the top right hand of the chart as you are looking at it. So, reminder of the week 1 500 millibar height anomaly with below average heights, low pressure into the UK and covering much of Western Europe as well. Above average heights pulled out to the middle Atlantic, and then high pressure is away up here over Scandinavia. We're on the cool side of the jet stream, so looking very cool and unsettled. Temperature anomalies a week ahead from the 25th of September to the 2nd of October are below average, not just the UK, but through most parts of Western Europe as well. Called average temperature anomalies. And also quite wet, of course, you expect that with low pressure over the country. So, yes, rainfall anomalies are above average too, as they are through many parts of Europe, actually. Really quite a cool and unsettled week to come. Week 2 is going to take us from the 2nd to the 9th of October, again with low pressure over top of the country, high pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. We remain on the cool side of the jet stream. So temperature anomalies remain below average through the first full week of October. Yes, cooler than average with the temperature. The rainfall anomaly also looks quite unsettled, again, with above average rainfall. So a pair of really quite cool wet weeks coming up, if the JMA is right. Then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which are going to take us from the 9th to 23rd of October. High pressure to west of Portugal, low pressure to the west of Ireland. We've also got a big area of high pressure up here, and we can make it out over there as well on this side of the chart, extending up to here. So we could either be bringing like a flat westerly, or if the low pressure weakens enough, we could start to draw up like a southeasterly, courtesy of the ridge. The temperature anomaly is lifting up, so it's becoming milder here through the middle part of October. Temperature anomalies are going slightly above average. Still, it's pretty unsettled though, so I think it is that low pressure still in the ascendancy, really, with above average rainfall. This could be shaping up to be quite a wet October, our wettest October, maybe for quite a few years. I think the last really wet October was probably 2012, perhaps. So I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. So this could be shaping up to be like the wettest October that we've had for 8 years, if the JMA is right. But let's see how the CFSV2 compares. So again, these are 500 millibar heights, and they're broken down into weekly periods. The first week period will take us from the 25th of September to the 1st of October. Coming week brings low pressure into the north and west of Europe. High pressure is up to the northeast and in the middle of the Atlantic. However, we're under low pressure, we're unsettled. We're on the cool side of a jet stream with the flow and with the jet doing something a little bit like that. Week 2, I should say, is even more unsettled. It's the 2nd to the 8th of October. Look at this trough that's right over top of the country. That is a very, very deep trough of low pressure indeed. High pressure again in the middle of the Atlantic and away to the northeast. Trough over here, ridge over here. This is a very sort of trough ridge type pattern. So the flow and the jet around the northern hemisphere, let's mark it out. Off on a bit of a tangent with this, but it is fun to do this at times. The flow and the jet is doing something a little bit like that, I think, around the northern hemisphere. Lots of troughs and ridges, certainly not zonal, certainly not flat westerly. So we're on the cold, we're under the trough and on the cold side of the jet for that week, for week 2. So that's a cool wet week coming up. And of course, if we find ourselves in that sort of position in the winter, then it will be cold and wintry, of course, in that kind of pattern, probably, again, on the cold side of the jet stream. So if that was to reoccur, like in January, then if anyone wants snow, you would be in business. Week 3 looks like that, going flatter in week 3. This is the 9th to the 15th of October. Still unsettled with low pressure through the country, but now we're starting to raise the heights to the south of the country. So we're looking a lot more zonal now, bringing in sort of a milder, warmer west-southwesterly, albeit still quite unsettled. And then we head on into week 4, which is the 16th to the 22nd of October. Heights rising across Central Europe. The low pressure is being pushed northwards. Looks like it's turning drier and warmer here. Drier and warmer as we move into the 3rd week of October. Maybe even a little bit of an Indian summer, who knows. But that sort of period from around the 16th, 22nd of October often does deliver quite warm weather. One last final sort of push of warmth. It's St. Martin's summer. It's one of those singularities that occurs within the weather quite a lot. And so yeah, that 3rd week of October does often deliver something a little bit dry and warmer. So not all that unexpected. Right, temperature anomalies for week 1 from the 21st of September to the 1st of October are below average. Cooler than average week coming up, quite significantly so. In fact, you say quite a cold week coming up with temperature anomalies around 2.5 to maybe 3 degrees below average. Week 2 temperature anomaly is also significantly below average from the 2nd to the 8th of October. Very cool start to October if that one's right. Week 3 is the 9th to the 15th of October. Again, a little bit below average, not as below average, but still on the cooler than average side, really. However, a bit of a change to week 4. 16th to the 22nd of October goes for warmer than average temperature. Not just for the UK, but through most parts of Europe as well, and much of Northern America too. So both sides of the Atlantic, happily, are looking warmer than average. Rainfall anomalies for week 1 from the 25th of September, 1st of October. Not as wet as you might have expected, actually, given the 500 millibar height anomaly. So only average to maybe hinting at being a little bit wetter than average. Week 2 does look very wet, though. This is the 2nd to the 8th of October. Substantially wetter than average in week 2, not just in the UK, but through most parts of Northern Europe as well. Week 3 is near normal for rainfall from the 9th to the 15th of October. And then week 4, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, so 16th to the 22nd of October, that one is ever so slightly wetter than average too. You might have thought, given the 500 millibar height on it, that we're going a bit drier than average there. But it still looks a little bit on the wet side, particularly for more northern and western parts of the country. So I think we're shaping up to have quite a cool and unsettled first half to October anyway, with quite a bit of rain around. There is a suggestion of something a little bit drier and warmer around the middle part of the month, which, as I say, is something that does happen quite commonly. It's quite a regular occurrence, one of those sort of singularities within the weather. But certainly the first half of October is looking very wet and quite unsettled here, reading between the lines of these two models. And even if it does sort of try to settle down a little bit through the middle part of October, I'm not sure it's going to come to a great deal. So we could be shaping up to have quite a wet October here. Maybe our wettest October. I think last time I had a very wet October was in 2012. So we might be shaping up to have our wettest October for around 8 years if the JMA and the CFSV2 are correct. Again, if I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments. I can't think of another really notably wet October since 2012. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. October 2017 was quite unsettled, but I don't think it was desperately wet. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think anyway. So that's how JMA is looking this week. JMA Friday is looking this week. Could all look very different next week. Maybe just a snapshot of what models are showing. So they could all look completely different next week. Any forecast beyond 5-7 days is fraught with danger. We're going to be back later on with your 10 to 14 day video to include all the breaker features. And then we're live streaming our 10 o'clock tonight. Be the first curfew live stream at GavsWeatherVids. Right, we'll see you later on then. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.